What legislation would you support or sponsor to improve our tax system for cutting some of the stuff that we have?
I think there's something inherently wrong with our tax system when the IRS commissioner in Washington, D.C. requires an accountant to do his taxes for him. It's a very simple answer for me. Simplify. Simplify, simplify, simplify. If you don't simplify, then those who have the means or perhaps the smarts to game the system do. So I do not support additional taxes. I do not support a VAT tax. I think the death tax needs to be eliminated because right now we need people to invest. I was just visiting with the Oregon Farm Bureau yesterday. There are a lot of Oregon farmers right now who are fearful they're going to lose their family business because of the death tax. And so they're not able to pass that on to the next generation. We may thus lose more jobs in Oregon, not to mention family businesses. And I would also say it's time to look at the Bush tax cuts and make sure we continue those, because in this economy especially, we need to foster investment and risk-taking and not clam it up because people are impaired with higher taxes.
Given the percentage of registrations in your district, what are you going to do to overcome the Democratic stronghold?
I think it's real simple. You talk about the issues that unite us. And what unites us right now is the economy stinks. I don't care what party you are, you don't like it when you're afraid that you're going to lose your job tomorrow. Or you don't like it when you may have to shut your business down. You don't like it when your kids don't know how to pay for their education, and you don't either, because there's nothing left for you to pay. You don't like it when you aren't sure how you're going to pay for your own retirement. And it has nothing to do with party affiliation. And one of the things that I'm excited to do in the general election is to talk to Oregonians of all stripes and all political persuasions and discuss the fact that we need to focus on what brings us together, and that is a thriving economy. And I'm happy to report that I'm getting endorsements and support from people of all parties. Even though they can't vote for me in the primary, they see that I'm a better solution than David Wu. And I brought people together because I stay focused on this message. It's my background. It's what I've demonstrated. In 10 years alone, the last 10 years, I've created more than 500 jobs. I know how to create jobs if left alone and not encumbered by government. And so that's the message of the day. That's the Republicans' winning message of 2010.
It's being introduced, or being talked about introducing, Oregon's mail vote nationwide through Senator Wyden's office. Would you support this or oppose it? And if you did support it, would it be in a different manner as a change to the voter, male voter?
Thank you. I appreciated that sustained applause.
Your 60 seconds is up.
I can talk, that's fine. I don't remember what the question was. Oh. Male ballots, or female ballots, whatever the case may be. I agree. It's just rife with problems, and it's just an invitation for corruption. I'm disheartened to know that Secretary of State Brown, is with Wyden right now in Washington, D.C., talking up this idea. The notion that you can, in fact, excuse me for using the word notion. There's someone else in Washington, D.C. who's been using that word a lot. I'm going to try to refrain from that word. The idea that you can increase voter turnout through mail balloting is just false. In fact, in 2008, when we had the highest voter turnout in decades, there were 12 states that actually saw a decrease in voter turnout, and 10 of them had vote by mail. So it's not a solution to increase turnout. It's a solution to increase mischief and corruption.
Okay, I've asked you about what you do about taxation. So the next question has to be, how are you going to control government spending in Washington, D.C.?
All right.
I have to slightly correct Don when he was introducing me. One of the things I do is I go to major corporations and smaller businesses all around the country, and they ask me to focus on two primary things. One is, how do you raise revenues responsibly? And that's a key word, because every business has to raise revenues. Let's not kid ourselves. But you have to do it in such a way that you don't lose customers and clients or patients. And the other thing is, how do we create a more efficient operation? So for the last 20 years, I've been in that business. And I've been hired by companies who, frankly, could go anywhere in their respective markets. They come all the way to Washington County, where my business is located, and ask me for assistance in this area. I think that skill set as a business owner, one who knows how to stick to a budget, one who knows how to say no, one who knows how to sign the front of a check, thank you very much, Mr. Wu. These are the kinds of skills that we don't have in Congress today, and I'm looking forward to taking those skills.
What steps would you take, if any, to improve our military and/or weapon systems?
First of all, it comes back to, I think, a previous question, and that is, how do we make sure that we're not spending money needlessly? And it goes across the board in the federal budget. And so I pride myself on not walking into a room and claiming to be the smartest guy. I pride myself on walking into a room, and maybe I don't know the answers, but I certainly find out what the problems are and what the questions are, and then through time, through observation, through assessing, through collaboration, we come up with answers. And that's what I've been trained and paid to do for 20 years. So military spending is one of those areas where I'm prepared to see how we're spending that money and if it's being efficiently used. But one other thing I would point out, once again, I'm a champion for District 1 of Oregon, because District 1 of Oregon has, within its geography, terrific companies, innovators, engineers, etc., real scientists who I think could improve the way that we carry out our weapon system, and we ought to be bringing that kind of business right here to Oregon, and our congressional delegation has failed us in that regard.